Bow 2, Senior Head Instructor.
Bow to Apprentice Instructor, first degree, advanced, intermediate, and beginner level students. All right. 100 jumping jacks.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back a little bit, diagonally. Begin.
1, 2,
3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100.
Push-up position.
Yes, sir.
First set of 10.
Yes, sir.
Begin.
1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir.
Rest kneeling.
Yes, sir.
Second set.
Yes, sir.
Begin.
1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir,
Hold your breath.
4,
Hold your
sir,
breath.
5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir.
Last set.
Yes, sir.
Before you can get your red sash, you have to be able to do all 30 black sash push-ups
Yes, sir.
the whole time. Right, so you start practicing if you haven't already. Begin.
1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4,
Oh,
sir,
you got black sash
5,
push-ups?
sir, 6,
Magic
sir,
bottom.
7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir.
On your backs for piston kicks.
Yes, sir.
First set of 25,
Yes, sir.
30. Begin.
1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir, 11, sir, 12, sir, 13, sir, 14, sir, 15, sir, 16, sir, 17, sir, 18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir. Can I go to the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it?
Straight back. There's 2, one on your left, one on your right.
My birthday's next Monday.
Second set,
Yes, sir.
begin.
1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir, 11, sir, 12, sir, 13, sir, 14, sir, 15, sir, 16, sir, 17, sir, 18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2,
All right,
sir,
here.
3,
Maddie's
4,
count.
sir,
Here, Miss
5,
Maddie's
sir,
count.
6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir.
Last set,
Yes, sir.
begin.
1, sir, 2, sir,
Right
3,
here, Maddie.
sir,
Madeline
4,
down.
sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir, 11, sir, 12, sir, 13, sir, 14, sir, 15, sir, 16, sir, 17, sir, 18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir.
All right, feet straight out in front, set up.
Yes, sir.
Reach up, bend forward, touch your toes. 1, sir, 2, sir.
3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir, 11, sir, 12, sir,
Make the legs
13,
straight.
sir,
Toes
14, sir,
up.
15, sir,
Toes up.
16, sir, 17, sir, 18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir.
And bend one leg in.
Yes, sir.
Reach up really high, bend forward, touch your toes.
Yes, sir.
1, sir, 2, sir.
3, sir, 4, sir,
Both hands,
5,
both
sir,
hands, both
6,
hands.
sir,
There you go.
7, sir,
Both on the
8,
toes.
sir,
Get them on the
9,
toes.
sir, 10, sir,
Very good.
11, sir, 12, sir, 13, sir, 14, sir, 15, sir, 16, sir, 17, sir, 18,
Legs
sir,
straight, make sure the legs
19,
straight.
sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir.
Switch.
Yes, sir.
And reach up. Reach up high like Maddie. Very good, like Sophie. Like Ian. Bend forward. 1, sir. 2, sir. 3, sir.
4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir, 11, sir, 12, sir, 13, sir, 14, sir, 15, sir, 16, sir, 17, sir, 18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7,
And
sir,
leg, make the
8,
leg
sir,
straight.
9, sir, 30, sir.
1, sir. 2, sir. 3, sir. 4, sir. 5, sir. 6, sir.
7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir,
Focus on your stretches. Get there with both hands. Grab the toes and grab the toes and pull them back.
15, sir,
Pull back.
16, sir, 17, sir,
There you go.
18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir,
Make the
4,
legs
sir,
straight.
5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir.
Bottom of the feet together.
Yes, sir.
All right, now, so, raise your hand if you know how to walk. Did you crawl in here today?
Yes, sir.
Raise your hands if you know how to stretch,
Yes, sir.
right? So you would not stretch the same way you wouldn't crawl because you can walk. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So you know better, that's why you walk now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? Otherwise, you crawl everywhere. How nasty would it be to crawl around on the floor all the time? Your clothes would always be dirty. You probably have holes in your knees and your shirt. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you come here, it's the same way. Walking is like doing all the moves that you know how to do correctly, correct. Not doing all the moves correctly is like crawling around the floor. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So if you know how to do the stretch, I shouldn't have to remind you, do the stretch. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And then I can focus on getting you cooler stuff or finding newer stretches. Does that make sense?
Yes,
But
sir.
you gotta do these right first. All right, with that in mind, you know what you came here for, you know how to do what you came here for, so do those things so we can do the next thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna repeat myself to you, because you come to a lot of classes. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So I shouldn't have to look over here and say, straighten your leg. You know your leg has to be straight, so do what you're supposed to do. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not gonna repeat myself to you. Okay. Bottom of the feet together.
Yes, sir.
Bend forward, touch your nose to your toes. 1, sir. 2, sir. 3, sir.
1, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 10, sir, 11, sir, 12, sir, 13, sir, 14, sir, 15, sir, 16, sir, 17, sir, 18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir.
Very good. Seated ankle, legs wide apart. Lift yourself up and turn to your right.
Yes, sir.
While you do your stretches, think about how much higher you'll be able to kick. Think about stretching a little bit further. Try to get more flexible.
Yes, sir.
Turn and shift to the other side.
Yes, sir.
We've been drinking more water to get more flexible, or drinking more water, period. It's a good idea to drink water. Water helps your muscles stay flexible. Elastic. More elastic. Turn back to center. Seated ankle, legs wide apart. Thumbs up, back straight. 1, sir. 2, sir. 3, sir. 4, sir. 5, sir. 6, sir. 7, sir. 8, sir. 9, sir. 10, sir. 11, sir.
12, sir, 13, sir, 14, sir, 15, sir, 16, sir, 17, sir, 18, sir, 19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, 5, sir, 6, sir, 7, sir, 8, sir, 9, sir, 30, sir.
Reach to one side.
Yes, sir.
Reach to the other side
Yes, sir.
with a straight leg. In. Reach for your toes. That's good. That's good. Reach to both sides. Touch your head to the floor or as far as you can go.
Yes, sir.
1, sir. 2, sir. 3, sir. 4, sir. 5, sir. 6, sir.
7, sir,
8, sir. 9, sir. 10, sir. 11, sir. 12, sir. 13, sir.
14, sir,
15, sir. 16, sir. 17, sir. 18, sir.
19, sir, 20, sir, 1, sir, 2, sir,
3, sir. 4, sir. 5, sir. 6, sir. 7, sir.
8, sir, 9, sir,
30, sir. All right. Last stretch, feet straight out in front. Bend one leg back and lean back.
Sir.
sir.
switch.
Yes, sir.
And stand up. Twist it out, do any additional touches.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Take your stance.
Yes, sir.
Stand tall.
Yes, sir.
Move back diagonally. Yep, keep going. Yep. And scoot over. Scoot over, right there, and scoot back. Take your stance.
Yes, sir.
Stand tall.
Yes, sir.
5 animal salute.
5
Five.
2 tigers, hide their trail. So remember, I don't know if you remember last class, or not last class, but a couple classes ago, we talked about making the ending really crisp and the same every time we do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right? So chair cast in, we want to go 1, and when we go 2, present, and then the fists come into the shoulders, and we're going to put them away, and we'll be very still after this. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So watch. Well, tell me which one is correct. Does it look like I'm ready to do Kung Fu? How about now? It's not so bad. That wasn't so bad. Right? So we know what it should look like, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want you to show me the last option. I want you to show me the correct option. Stand.
Yes, sir.
Stand tall.
Yes, sir.
Five animal salute.
5 animal salute.
Good. Be balanced. The back foot is flat. Back foot is flat. All your weight is on the back leg. So if I come sweep your front leg, you shouldn't fall over. Right? You should have horseback, not turtle back. Stick your bottom out. Close, feet together.
Yes, sir.
All right. So today, what we're going to go over is say the cat stance. Now, because we are all advanced, this is going to be a very quick review because it won't be difficult to get these correct. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
The same analogy that I used earlier for walking and crawling, it's the same thing is true for the rest of your Kung Fu, your stances, right? Because your stances was your crawling. You learned your stances at your beginner stage. Now we teach you cool stuff because you already know your stances and your basic kicks. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So when you know your stances, you have to show that you know those things every time you move your body. The same way you wouldn't get on the ground and crawl randomly, you'd stay on your feet and you'd walk or run, right? So it's time to get to the running stage. Right now we're kind of walking. So let's see. Take a stance.
Yes, sir.
Stand tall.
Yes, sir.
When we do our cat stance, the back can't be curved like this. Right? So the more you hunch doesn't mean you went lower. You have to keep the back open and you have to bend the legs. Use your leg muscles. All of you are very strong because you got to this class, which means you already know your stances. So I know the muscles are there. You want to make your leaning forward, bottom goes out, not like this. This doesn't go lower. This one is lower. Yes?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's give it a try. Let's take a stance.
Yes, sir.
All the weight's on the back leg. That means it's not like this. Because if somebody see me, I'll fall over. Stand tall.
Yes, sir.
5 animal salute.
5 animal salute.
Good, stay there. Oh, that's better, William. Shift back. You got to put all the weight on your right leg. All the weight goes on the right leg. Shift back. Use your muscles. Yes, that's better. Feet together.
Yes, sir.
2 tigers under the trail. Now let's start from return horse. We're going to do the first 10 moves of crane. Hard and soft. Crane walking. Descending arm, hand, and waist.
The second arm and waist.
One finger asks a question.
One finger asks a question.
Good. Bend that front knee. Bend the front knee. And when you do this, one finger asks a question, you'll have to duck because you're blocking another punch. So you have to duck lower by bending the leg and bending. Bending the knee and leaning over.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Feet together.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ian, go put your shoes on. Saul, go put your shoes on. Y'all can't be sliding all over the place. Y'all have to train correctly. All right, Miss Kelly, can you lead that one time?
Yes, sir.
So it's fun to train in socks, but it's not helpful for your training if y'all aren't, if y'all are sliding all over the place. It makes it hard to learn. Very good. Now, it's not impossible to balance in socks. It's just easier as you learn to balance in shoes. Okay?
Yes, sir. Attention stance.
Yes,
Ma'am.
Stand tall.
Yes, ma'am.
5 animal salute.
5 animal salute.
2 tigers either trail.
2 tigers in the trail.
Return horse to stable.
Return horse to stable.
Hard and soft.
Hard and soft.
Crane walking.
Crane walk.
Descending arm, hand, and waist.
Descending arm, hand, and waist.
One finger asks the question.
One finger asks the question.
Crane wing punching.
Crane wing punching.
Fist through the sleeve.
Fist to the sleeve.
Hard and soft.
Soft.
Crane walking.
Walking.
Descending arm, hand, and waist.
Descending arm, hand, and waist.
One finger asks the question.
One finger asks the question.
Crane wing punching.
Crane wing punching.
Fist through the sleeve.
Fist to the sleeve.
5 animal salute.
5 animal salute.
2 tigers either trail.
2 tigers in the trail.
What are you supposed to do with your hands when you finish? Stand still, straightforward. You shouldn't even be looking at me. I shouldn't see your eyeballs. See how Miss Kelly's doing hers? Very good. Up. And Miss Kelly moved. She did a little bit. That's okay. Video.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that seem easy or hard? Easy, somewhat, kind of, sort of, easy, somewhat. Because there's still things to think about, right? There's a lot to think about, a lot to make sure that you're doing. So, with that being said, we're gonna break off into groups and have our partners help us fill in what we don't know. Some of us know all of it. If you know all of it, stop rolling your eyes in here. Stop rolling your eyes in here, right? Don't do that. Okay, I don't do that to you when you talk. Now, yeah, don't do that. It's really frustrating. I don't like that. I just don't. Go find a partner. That's talking to y'all. Help me, please.
Yes, sir. Eric, why don't you come meet Ian's partner? Ian? You want to do something? Okay, go over there. And take Aileen with you. And then Saul will be William for guys partners. Right here in this area. You're going through Crane, help your partner fill in the words that they don't know. Or that they might not be doing exactly correct.
Hard and soft. Crane walking. Descending arm, hand, and waist. One finger asks the question. Crane wing punching. Fist through the sleeve. Hard and soft. Oh, you don't know what? Hard and soft. Crane walking. Soft. Do you want to go to the crane walk? Soft. Descending arm, hand, and waist. One finger asks the question. blue. 2 sides to the trail. 2 sides to the trail. One finger after question. And then you finish off. Frankly punching. Frankly punching. Fifth year sleep. Fifth year sleep. Hard and soft. Hard and soft. Hard and soft. Crane walk. Crane walk. That's how you want to go. One finger after question. Crane and punching. Fifth year sleep. 5 hours sleep. 5 everyone. 2 tigers by the trail. 2 tigers by the trail.
Yes, ma'am. 5 animals.
Okay.
Team.
Bow to your partners. Hopefully you got to run it a couple times. Take a break and come back.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, you don't want that. Hmm? Alright, come back out. Alright, so just a couple things. What are some of the ways you get your next rank? Oh, well, before we do that, who knows what beginner is? What's beginner? Where does beginner end? Who knows? Say it. Green. No, not quite. Beginner ends at orange. Who knew that already? Okay, good. Beginner ends at orange. The beginner ends at orange. Intermediate starts at green. Intermediate goes all the way to purple, right? Or even purple black. After this, you are advanced. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Which means, is a green sash gonna have the same skills as your red sash self?
No, sir.
Right, so your green sash self knows tiger stances, crane blocks, the basics, right? Your red sash self has learned how to spar, right? They've been in the ring, they've learned how to spar. They've learned most of the 108 or all of the 108. They can do it by themselves. They can help someone else do the moves. They've sparring combos. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So you've done a lot more here than you did when you were green sash, yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what are some of the ways you get from green to red? What are some of the, of course, consistency. You have to be consistent in everything that y'all say. So what is one thing? Stand still. What's one thing?
Following instructions.
Following instructions. What's the second thing? Stances, right? Stances. That's good. Anything else?
I feel like having a good mental attitude and attitude.
Have a good idea, like mental attitude while you train. Okay, be positive about your training. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Even if I'm hard on you, right? You can still be positive.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Balance.
Balance. You have to be balanced throughout your whole set, right? That looks nice, and that comes from practicing the. Who said stances? That comes from practicing the stances. Yes. What was yours? Stretch correctly, right? You stretch better. That helps you take care of your body, and therefore you have better training. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So it's a lot of small decisions that get you to a really big decision. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So every day you have to make the right decision to stretch correctly or to hold your stance, even if you don't feel like it. And then that's how you get better. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now we'll only, and most of you, especially once you get to this class, you've been a student long enough to where I know you as a martial artist, not necessarily personally because I don't come to y'all's houses, but I know you as a martial artist very well. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So I can tell when you're not doing your best. Now why you're not doing your best, I don't know all the time. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So you might be tired, you could have had a lot of homework, you could just want to nap, you could want to play Fortnite or whatever. You could want to pick your,
A part of you could be hurting.
right, a part of you could be hurting, you could want to pick your toes instead of learn Kung Fu, which I don't know who would want to do that, but some people do, that's fine. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So even when there's something that that's keeping you from really wanting to train, it's best to focus and do only what you have to, which is train. You don't have to focus on what you're going to do afterwards or before or what you could be doing instead. Just focus on what I say and do those things to the best of your ability. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
When people come in and gave their 100%, every time they come to class, they get recommended to their next rank because they're showing us what?
Consistency.
Consistency in doing their best.
Best.
Consistency in doing their best. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Who do you think we don't recommend?
People who don't follow instructions.
Well, people who don't follow instructions, but people who are not consistent in doing their best. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Because we don't know what you know. Like today you knew how to walk, and yesterday you knew how to crawl, now tomorrow you know how to crawl again. It's kind of weird. We don't know what to say. Like today it was 2 plus 2 is 4, and then tomorrow 2 plus 2 is 5. But isn't 2 plus 2 4 every day?
Yes.
So then isn't a horse dance every day?
Yes.
And isn't a cat dance every day?
Yes, sir.
Which means if you do it the same, you can only get better at it, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
if you do it less than your best, what do you get?
Get worse.
You get worse. So you have to perform every move your best. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And if you stayed up late last night, as you might have, because you have freedom,
That's your
you
fault.
get to, that's your fault, and you get to see the consequences of staying awake when you should be asleep. Because you don't get enough rest, and then you're not nice during class. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, how do you think class would be if I didn't get enough rest?
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody wants to know, even me. I don't even want to know. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
We just have to keep doing it for a time.
Right? You just stand in a horse stance for 30 minutes. I wouldn't even tell you anything. You just stand in a horse stance. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so get your rest, drink your water, do all the things that you know you're supposed to do. As you get older, you'll have more responsibility. What you do with that responsibility is up to you, but you will have to reap the consequences of your actions. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So if you did not go to sleep, you will be tired in the daytime. If you don't train well, you probably won't look very good doing your Kung Fu. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, so if you want to get good at Kung Fu, follow my instructions and do everything I say to the best of your ability. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. lead the set one more time. Who'd like to lead us through? Maddie's gonna lead us one time. While Maddie is leading us, I am looking for consistency in stances, that opening and closing that you know how to do. I'm looking for you to do all the things you know how to do. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes, sir.
If you show me less than that, then I'll assume you know less than that.
Yes, sir.
I might even wrap your sash. Give you a blue one. Who'd like a blue sash again? Are you sure? We got some greens in the back. I can give you a green. You want a white sash? No, she doesn't want a white sash. Right, so show me why you have your ring. All right. Follow Maddie.
Yes, sir.
Attention stand.
Yes, ma'am.
Stand tall.
Yes, ma'am.
5 animal salute.
5 animal salute.
2 tigers have their trail.
2 tigers have the trail.
Turn horse to the stable.
Turn horse to the stable.
Great. Thank you. Hard and soft.
Hard and soft.
Train walking.
Train walking.
Standing arm, hand, and waist.
Standing arm, hand, and waist.
One finger asks a question.
One finger asks a question.
Punching.
Punching.
Fist to the sleeve.
Fist to the sleeve.
Hard and soft.
Hard and soft.
Train walking.
Train walking.
Descending arm, hand, and waist.
Descending arm, hand, and waist.
One finger asks a question.
One finger asks a question.
Punching.
Punching.
Fist to the sleeve.
Fist to the sleeve.
5 animal salute.
5 animal salute.
2 tigers head their trail.
2 tigers head the trail.
Much better. We can take a break. So after we wow. So there's some of us that have a diagram. I just like that this time. The path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. The path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. The path of self-mastery requires a focused mind. A focused mind sees no obstacles. Speak it.
Bow 2, Senior Head Instructor.
Bow to apprentice instructor, first degree, advanced, intermediate, and very good job.